Alright, well, some people asked me that I keep forgetting is, the basics of driving a manual transmission. And there's so many videos of this on YouTube. It's just ridiculous. But I'll just, we'll talk about it for a couple of minutes, all right? I'm in a parking lot right now, okay? And here I have my shifter. And down here you have your clutch, brake, and gas. All right? Normal car, you just have these two. In a manual, you have a clutch on the left side here. All right, now, the hardest part for people is engaging first gear, getting the car, truck rolling, without stalling it. But once you're moving, typically it's very easy to shift gears because you're rolling. It's nothing, it's simple. But the hardest part for people is getting the truck to move without stalling the engine. All right. So the first thing you really, I'm not the best at this. I mean, I know how to drive it, but it's like explaining it to people in words is very difficult. They have to drive it and feel it to really understand it. It's like riding a bike. You got to feel it. Anyone can tell you how to pedal and balance, but you have to learn for yourself how to balance. You know what I mean? All right. So you got to push in the clutch. All right, and once the clutch is pushed in, now, because the engine's on, now you can freely move into gears, you know what I mean? So, left front, you got first, down here you got second, up middle third, middle back fourth, up to the right is fifth, and to the right down is reverse. All right, usually it will say right on here, some cars might have a sixth gear where the reverse is, so the reverse might be where first is. The reverse could even be where fifth is. But in a regular old model, most standard 5 speeds have the reverse in the lower right corner. All right? So you push the clutch in. You go into first gear. All right? And now this is the hard part for people. When you slowly release the clutch pedal, not throwing your foot off of it like a crazy man because you'll stall and you'll buck and you'll probably, could damage the transmission. But when you slowly come off of it, you'll notice that when you slowly come off of it, you'll start to roll. You see that? See, I'm not all the way off of it when I'm roll. I'm about like 30% up, and now I start to roll. You see, I'm not even touching the gas. I'm just coming up a little bit, about 30%, and I start to roll. You see that? That's called the friction point. The friction point. That's when the clutch starts engaging the transmission. All right? So now when you come off of it a little more, and when you start to roll, you want to give it a little gas just to keep you want to keep the RPMs up as you're rolling out of first, because if you don't, you'll stall. And as I come up and I keep the RPMs in a decent spot, now my foot's all the way off the clutch, and I'm in first gear, and I'm just rolling around the parking lot with very, very little gas. Very, very little gas. That's how simple it is. I mean that's the best I can really explain it. But like I said, you got to feel it yourself. Still in first gear, foot's off the clutch. My RPMs are just about 1,000, 1,100, and I'm just rolling around the parking lot. You see what I mean? Now, if I wanted to stop, I want to push in the clutch, which disengages the gear. Now, I'm in neutral, even though I'm in first gear. I have the clutch pushed in. So technically I'm in neutral and I'm still rolling from momentum. Now I'm going to come up a little uphill a little bit and I'm stopping. But that's just stopping automatically. But when you push the clutch in, normally you want to pull it out of gear, and now you can take your foot off the clutch again, because you're 100% in neutral, and you don't need to have the clutch pushed in to be in neutral. And now we stopped just out of momentum. But normally if you're on the road and you're coming to a red light, you're going to pull it out of gear, use your brake. Unless you have a nice new transmission, new car where you want to downshift, then you can downshift, like people do on motorcycles and shit. But typically in an old truck like this, with everything's old and fragile, you just pop it into neutral, use the brake, just to save the clutch and save the transmission and stuff. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and do it again. We're going to go ahead and put it in first gear. And again, slowly off the clutch. No gas yet, because we come off the clutch, we start to roll, And again, see, look what happens if I don't give it any gas and I come off the clutch more. See the RPM start dropping, and I'll eventually stall the truck. You could even hear it. You could hear it bog down. So when you come off the clutch more than 30% in this truck, a little bit of gas. A little bit of gas. You see that? So now when I come off all the way, I'm rolling and I'm all right. You know, now I'm back off the clutch completely, and I'm in first gear rolling around the parking lot. Alright, let's see how much room I have over here. Alright, let's go down to the end here. We'll make a little U-turn and I'll show you how to go into second. Alright, so now when you get... Now, people say, how do you know when to change gears? Well, that's very simple too. See, I'm giving it more gas. And see, now I'm only going like 15 miles an hour, but my RPMs are getting really high. You see that? So the RPMs are going to go up, but my speed's not going to really go up anymore. You see that? In an automatic transmission, your car would shift for you into second gear, maybe even third gear. But in a manual transmission, you have to make that shift yourself. So here I go again. My RPMs are rising up. I'm going to push the clutch in, and then I'm going to go down to second gear and release the clutch. Alright, now I'm in second gear. I'm still doing that same speed I was, but now my RPMs are in a more reasonable spot. So now when I accelerate more, see my speed's going up with the RPMs, and if I kept going a little bit more, then I would have to shift into third gear. Alright, but I'm not going to do that in the parking lot because I don't have the room. My RPMs would drop too low, and I would bog down the engine, and I wouldn't be able to go at the speed that's needed to maintain, you know. So now I'm going to go back into first because I slowed down dramatically just then when I made that turn. And then we're going to leave the parking lot and start driving towards the house. And this way you could see me shift higher than second. Alright, so now I'm just coming out of first like we talked about. Coming to a stop sign, so I'm pushing in the clutch, but I'm leaving it in first because I know I'm going to only be, you know, sitting for a second. I don't have to put it really in neutral, you know, fully in neutral. Alright, so here we are on the street. RPMs are rising. Push clutch and shift to second, release clutch. Now I'm in second. See, rising, rising, rising. Time to go to third. Release clutch. Now I'm in third gear, doing about 30 miles an hour. Alright, so I'm going faster now. RPMs are rising. Time to go to fourth gear. Fourth gear. Now I'm in fourth gear. RPMs are lower again. Speed is about 45. Now there's a thing in front of me. See, now I'm slowing down, but my RPMs are getting too low because I gotta slow down. So now you can push the clutch in and go back to third gear. See, RPMs rose up. Now I'm at a good gear, a good speed for this gear. I could cruise like this on the whole street if I wanted to. This is called downshifting. Now there's a red light. I want to go to second. See, you don't have to do it. Now I'm stopping, so I'm just going to throw it in neutral and use the brake. Take my foot off the clutch and I'm using the brake. And that's really all to it, guys. There's really nothing to it. Very easy. Once you get the hang of it and the feel for it, it's very easy. Very, very easy. Lights changing. Now that I see that the light's changing, clutch in, first gear, green light. Second. Third. And like I said, using the clutch and shifting, now I went into fourth. See, that's the motion. I pushed it in, I went to fourth, and I took my foot off the clutch. But once you're already rolling and you're already in motion, it's very easy to do. It's not as hard as balancing that first time to get the car to roll or the truck to roll. Once you're driving and you're shifting gears, it's very easy. So right now I'm just cruising in fourth gear. If I was to go to fifth gear right now, which I could do if I wanted to try to preserve a little more gas, my RPMs are going to drop closer to 1. I'll show you what I mean. Going into 5th. See that? My RPMs dropped to like a little bit under 1.5. You know? Like, now I'm coming to a stop sign, so I don't really have the distance to downshift all the gears. So we're just going to push the clutch in, pull it in neutral, and now we're just going to use the brake to gradually stop at this stop sign. Alright? Now, a motorcycle has a wet clutch. Cars have dry clutches. So it's not the best idea to just be sitting around at a red light with the clutch pushed in first gear waiting for the light to turn green if there was a light. Normally, you want to put it into neutral, the true neutral, and take your foot off the clutch. You don't want to hold this clutch in because there's springs and everything. It's not a wet clutch, it's a dry clutch. So that could, wear down your springs and stuff. And you never want to ride the clutch as you're driving. You want your foot to be completely off of the clutch completely when you're in gear and you're driving. Alright, so now we're going to push the clutch in. We're going to go back into first gear. And again, we're going to slowly come off the clutch and give it a little gas. And we're rolling. Foot's completely off. I'm in first gear. Shift a second. I'll show you the motion down at my feet. Now we're going to go into third. So, clutch in, push up, release clutch. That's all it is. I got this guy up my ass. People don't know how to fucking drive with people not up their ass. But now I'm just in third gear. I didn't go into fourth or anything. So that's really all that's to it, guy. I'm coming up to my turn, my house and stuff, but that's really all to it. It's real easy to drive a stick. I think it's easy to drive a stick. But that's all that's to it, guys. We're back at the house. Alright, now see my emergency, if you're on a driveway or something, you want to use your e-brake or something to keep the truck from rolling back. Or you want to put it in gear when the engine's off. So in my case, I'm on the street. That's what I want to do because the street's a little sloped. So the first thing I'm going to do is turn off the engine. Okay? Push in my clutch. And I'm just going to put it into first gear. And now it's come off the clutch. Even though I'm stopped and the engine's off. Now the truck can't roll forward or back because it's in gear. You know what I mean? It's not in neutral. It's in gear. I have the gear engaged, so I can't roll anywhere. So that's a safe thing to do if you're on a hill or something and you're parked. This way, if your emergency brake does give out, your truck doesn't go rolling down the street. You know what I mean? It won't go because it's in gear. That will stop it from rolling anywhere. So there's your quick lesson on how to drive a stick. There's a bunch of videos on it, but I notice a lot of people in the videos, they either just show them shifting, they don't show the clutch, they don't show their feet, they don't show the road, how it starts to roll. So I kind of try to do all that for you guys in one thing. But, that's really it for now. And, yeah, see you soon.